Welcome back, everybody. Today we're talking about the colors of driving, what those warning lights really mean when they come on in your car, and whether or not you should be alarmed. Cliff Hudson from Hudson's Import Service joins us right now with much more. Cliff, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. Good to see you.
Good to see you as well. Tell us all about these colors of driving.
Well, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Let's do a little analogy here. This is just a for example. If an airplane crashed and the pilot lived, and the investigators pulled all the black boxes out, and they were reviewing all the evidence, and they set the pilot down and they said, hey, you flew past 3 airports where you could have landed with warning lights going on all over your dash. Why didn't you land the plane? Why did you crash it? And the pilot's response was, yeah, I saw those, but I didn't know what they meant. What would be your reaction to that?
That he probably shouldn't be flying that plane.
Bingo. Oh. But unfortunately, this happens every day in automotive. Now, the colors of driving, we call this segment the colors of driving just because that. On the screen right now is a picture of an instrument cluster, and you'll see a green light. For instance, see the drive there indicating this is actually the instrument cluster out of my truck. The D is green. That's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
Hey, we can go forward. Now,
green means go.
You see some amber colored lights. I took this picture with the key on specifically to display these. You see one of the amber colored lights is a warning light, the check engine warning light. Another amber colored light, we're in the right hand corner of the screen, lower corner of the screen. The other warning light looks like a little horseshoe, is my tire pressure monitoring light. There you go. Now, notice they're amber. This is warning. This is not stop your world. This is warning. Hey, something needs some attention. But now notice beside it, see the red?
Yeah.
Red is airbag. Hey, when that is on, airbag system has malfunctioned. It will not work. Red, stop your world. Here's what you need to think about every time you look at your instrument cluster. This is identical to the stoplight in the intersection.
So they really made it easy for you.
Green is good. We can go. Amber is, hey, caution. We're about to turn red here, and red is stop your world immediately.
Right.
Because here's what happens to me on a regular basis. A customer will call up and they'll say, hey, I'm looking at this light on the dash, and I'll say, describe it to me, and they'll say, well, kind of looks like an Aladdin's lamp with a little drip hanging off of it. And I'll go, ooh, oil pressure
That would be
warning.
the oil pressure,
yeah,
right.
As soon as you can, quit, pull off the road, turn the car off. And they're like, why? I'm saying, well, because that's low pressure, oil pressure. We could be destroying the engine. And the response is something like, well, it's been on 3 days. So the good news there is it's probably an erroneous reading. The bad news is, had it not been, engine destruction.
You're doing a lot of damage.
Just
to your
like
car.
my story about the airline pilot who crashed the plane not knowing what the lights meant. Yeah, that's why they're important. And when in doubt, look at the colors. Green, amber, red. Red means stop your world immediately.
So if you don't even want to go into your manual where the definitions for all those lights are, at least go by color.
And that's the other thing too. These lights are universal supposedly. You're supposed to be looking at this. You're supposed to be able to look at this instrument cluster and know exactly what every light means by its symbol. And most of the people driving can't.
Yeah.
So yeah, again, even if you don't understand the meaning of the light, the red is stop your world immediately. Now, you notice, see the little red battery light to the left of my instrument cluster? Right. Again, batteries not being charged. Stop your world immediately. It's actually my preference that each gauge, just like your gas gauge, each gauge would have a warning light to catch your attention. Then you look at the gauge to see if you really have a problem.
Okay.
Unfortunately, most manufacturers don't build that into anything except the gas gauge.
Yeah, yeah. What are some of the most popular things, now that it's winter going into spring right now, of course we're having that rain, what are some of the most popular lights that are going off people's cars that you're dealing with on an everyday basis?
You know, the weather really has very little effect on this. Typically when it gets hot, you know, then radiators lose their efficiency, don't cool, don't dissipate heat properly. That's when you see some overheating warning lights. But really in our environment and in our climate, warning lights really aren't temperature sensitive to any degree whatsoever. Now, we mentioned that TPMS light. I get a lot of questions about TPMS lights. Back on our instrument cluster there, the lower right-hand corner, they're probably going to enlarge this picture for us here in just a second. The lower right-hand corner, you see a little light, looks like a horseshoe. Mine has an exclamation point in the middle of it. Others have a little triangle or some other kind of warning. That's the newest thing. As of 2008, federal law mandated.
Every car had to put one.
Every car had to have tire pressure monitoring system warning lights. This indicates that either a tire is low, does not have proper pressure, or there's a problem with one of the onboard sensors that checks pressure and reports it to the computer.
Right, and you can reset that light if you think
that can be reset. In fact, in my own truck, when it popped on 2 days ago, as it did, all I had to do was adjust my tire pressures.
Okay.
But you know, again, it's very important when tires are kept properly inflated, the car gets better fuel economy, the car pollutes less, and we have much better tire wear.
Saving you money. If any one of those car lights go off, go see this guy right there in Mount Pleasant on Johnny Dodds Boulevard. He will be able to help you out and take that black duct tape off, off the HUD.
I can't tell you how many times I see that.
I bet. Cliff Hudson, thank you so much, sir. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
All right. Stay tuned. Much more Low Country Live coming up in just a bit.